next year, with this being a Fitzpatrick kind of last year's out, or is this kind of the end of their run? This is what they had their chance. Or?
Well, Fitzpatrick has said that
this is probably gonna be his last year.
Yeah,
right?
he said this is basically like his year, his contract year or whatever else, his swan song. So I don't know. I mean, how much longer does he have, really? Mm-hmm. I'm interested in Washington, and we're going to talk about this when we have rolling in here in the second half of the first hour.
I like that team a lot.
I don't.
You don't. Is it just because it's Washington football team?
No, I think their defense is great.
Their offensive line,
and I think Antonio Gibson's going to be awesome.
I think Antonio Gibson's going to be awesome. You got T.J. McLaurin on the outside, and we saw Fitzpatrick can put up numbers with some talented wide receivers, and I think he's got them. I think he's got some speed out there.
Yeah. Hear me out. I think COVID's going to mean more than we think.
Okay.
So Ron Rivera, like Mike Zimmer, we'll get to that. And again, we'll talk about it more in the second half or whatever else because we're trying to cross off teams here and there division-wise. I think it's not reported enough that Ron Rivera, cancer survivor, says to his team, guys, I'm a cancer survivor not too long ago.
Okay.
Last season, I think he was taking chemo while doing that. That's what Riverboat Ron does. He'll just gamble his health to be able to coach. He says, guys, I need this. You need to take get vaccinated. Not everyone does it. Mm-hmm. They bring in like a doctor who is, I can't give you his resume verbally, okay? But I will tell you this. African-American doctor going to more of the African-American players who are skeptical saying, guys, here's why you need to do it, whatever else. And they're still like, I'm skeptical. Mm-hmm. Even though my coach asked me to do it, I'm skeptical.
Is this the reports out of Washington?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and they said, and then the reports out of Washington, Ron Rivera, it's more like, and Zimmer too, that was an April, that was a May to August thing. May to August, from here, season, doesn't matter. But I just wondered during those 3 months if they lose the clubhouse at all. Over your beliefs over the COVID, the vaccination, or political beliefs. I just wondered. That's all. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm recklessly speculating over it. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, Washington is one of those teams that can be scary good. But if something like this could change the atmosphere of the clubhouse. I mean, they've got good receivers. They've got Antonio Gibson. He looks great.
Oh, fantastic.
Put that dog ear that guy for your fantasy.
No, nobody.
Did you hear also about Jacksonville? Did you hear now someone's out for the year?
Oh, yeah. Love James Robinson.
There goes your PPR, Etienne, because that's what all the talks were there, that he was coming out of the back. He was also going to line up at slot sometimes. So, but they've got Scary Terry, and like Ryan Fitzpatrick is playing for a career year. But I don't know if they're losing the clubhouse that way. And what is their backup situation after that? Mm-hmm. It's not Dwayne Haskins. He's up in Pittsburgh.
I don't know who the backup is there.
Yeah. And like you said, maybe Gardner Minshew needs to go up there. Maybe they need to trade for somebody. Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's no spring chicken. He can get hurt. And the same thing is in Minnesota, too. Kirk Cousins isn't getting vaccinated. Who's the backup there?
Yeah.
The protocol that happens in the NFL, one thing, you could lose somebody real quick. And
are we still going to see games being moved around during like the season if like so many players on a team? Are they doing anything like the Big Ten where they're just going to cancel games and if they have too many players on like the COVID restricted list? Are they just moving games to Tuesday again this year? Or
I feel really dumb. Why do I feel like that we've had this before? Like did they say they did?
They're going to move them, or
they're going to cancel them, and then you lose. Yeah, it's a forfeit, and then you have to pay for. We did talk about this.
Maybe I wasn't here that day.
And you have to pay. Well, I'm just thinking we in general, like this hassle castle. And you have to. The team will have to pay for like losses or whatever else, and it might come out of player salaries. Yeah.
Oh, really?
So they don't want to move them. I mean, there was that time when we had like football 5 days a week. I thought it was fine.
That was cool.
If you're the Steelers, that might be that might have been your downfall of your season. You start off 13-0, and then somehow you played 4 games in 16 days, or something ridiculous like that. You might want to say, hey, there's a reason why we didn't do too well in the postseason.
At the end of the season there.
So
I remember scrambling around all the fantasy things. And I remember everybody in the league like, what are we going to do? Well, they haven't told us yet what they're going to do.
Yeah. I'll make a phone call.
Let me get Matthew Berry on the phone real quick.
So, like I said, it's going to the Washington football team is interesting. And so Teddy Two Gloves is up there. Drew Lock is still under rookie contract. He's going to stay there. Mm-hmm. So what you said at quarterback battles, we got Dalton but they haven't named anything in Patriots. Supposedly it's Cam, but this is going to kill him. I mean, this is.
It's almost like they sent him out of
This
town.
is not
It's
a
almost like
Patriot
like,
thing.
hey,
The
go.
Patriots don't just say, it was just a mistake or whatever else. No, you missed a test. He missed a test. Now it's come out. Yesterday it was like we didn't know if he didn't take the required Mesa test or if he missed a test. He missed a test. So they just don't make there's no misunderstanding. Belichick and misunderstandings are an oxymoron. That just doesn't work that way.
You don't make mistakes in New England like this.
No. And again, going back to the whole like Brady Bledsoe thing, he might be a leader. He might have the guys, whatever else. He may look great. It may have been a comeback year. It could have been resurrection of his career. This might be a thing where Belichick just uses this as like Mac Jones is always our guy.
Yeah.
Mac Jones is our guy. We're going to focus on week one, Mac Jones. Well, what about Cam Newton? We're focused on week one, Mac Jones. And kind of was always this way, and just kind of like, hey, this is the way it works.
Just here so I don't get fined.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So I mean, that's. And I think when Roland comes in and we start crossing things off, we'll do a little bit more. I want to ask you, since we were talking at the beginning about Hard Knocks and preseason football and everything else. Tonight is something interesting. The MLS All-Star Game is going to be on at 8:30 on FS1. It is the All-Star Game, but they're playing against stars from the Liga MX from Mexico. So the two leagues are squaring off in an all-star game in the middle of their season. It's never happened like this before in MLS, and you've never seen it in, type of thing where, I don't know, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
There's no other league that's kind of comparison to the NBA in the middle of their all-star, the NHL in the middle of their season, and the NFL and baseball, okay? So these leagues are pretty much rivals. So... And it's going to be probably considered one of the most competitive All-Star games yet. So there's a rivalry between U.S. and Mexico. The U.S. men's national team beat Mexico in the Nations League and the Gold Cup finals this summer. So the Liga MX is probably out for revenge. Does this do anything for you now that I'm telling you that the MLS, I mean, seriously, I've never watched an MLS game in my life. Mm-hmm. Is it something that you're like, if you're out, let's say you're at Frick's or whatever else, or working or whatever, and you're like, and someone's like, why do you have soccer? And you're like, oh, it's the All-Star game. Do you think it would move the needle at all in any way?
No, I don't think it really would. And like you, I've never watched an MLS soccer game at all either. I'm sure somebody out there has got to enjoy this, and it's got to be good for the sport, right? It's got to be like they're trying something new. Yeah. So that's kind of fantastic. I've definitely never heard of anything like this, but absolutely, does that not sound fun? And if you're a rival, you said they're rival leagues.
Yeah, so well, the rivalry because animosity. Of they're regional rivals.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Mexican player, the Liga MX, like I said, they have players that were on the Mexico team that lost the U.S. men's national team, and vice versa. The U.S. men's national team had players that are in MLS.
I think that you can see the players are definitely trying a little bit harder in an All-Star game right here.
Yep.
Like, how like kind of the All-Star games have become kind of a joke all the way around national sports. They're not playing for anything, or football has always kind of been the joke, but this means something a little bit to everybody. For the MLS, what they're trying to do is they're trying to create more of a relationship with the Mexican Americans that are currently in the United States, the ones that might watch this Liga MX, and Liga MX is trying to grow their brand up into the United States, or in North America, obviously. So I think it's a good way for them to open their commercial markets. Won't be too much. Won't be too much that I'm paying attention to. I won't be running a special for it at the bar tonight. Yeah. Let's just say that. Yeah. So it's not, and I'm not going to be looking to see what the lines are to place a bet on it at all. All right. Yesterday we talked a little bit, or Monday I talked a little bit about the Baltimore Orioles and the tanking that they're doing on purpose. By the way, they lost again yesterday. 19 in a row? Yeah, and I think they're 2 away or 3 away. Roseman said tonight we bowl, so obviously we didn't have the volume. So let me go back to something that we said from the very beginning, Roseman. Yes, tonight we said this at the very beginning, but we didn't have volume on Facebook Live. So those listening to ESPN 1170, we were repeating ourselves, but we're doing it for a good cause. So Adrian starts his bowling league tonight at Leisure Lanes, but most importantly, that Leisure Lanes is having Bowling for Boobies coming up real soon. And they want some sponsors. They would like some sponsors. And there are businesses out there that should be sponsors. I believe it's $100 a lane. Roseman on the Harrington's Pub Facebook comment thread can correct me if I'm wrong, but contact them through Facebook, call Leisure Lanes, whatever else. It is a great
thing that they do to raise money for breast cancer. It's awesome. It goes all day long, and and like Leisure Lanes has been a sponsor of the show before, but they're just great for the community. As much as we want to promote the community, they're good in the community too. So we want to highlight things like that. So that Bowling for Boobies is coming up. I believe it's in October.
Yeah, the middle of October. I'm not exactly sure what the exact date is.
I feel like the 16th.
It's one of those days, right around there. And there's 3 different bowling shifts. I believe there's going to be a bags tournament.
Oh, cool.
You can have, like you said earlier, a banner of your company's name for $100 and an even bigger one for $200. And they're always looking for raffle door prizes.
Yes.
It's a great time. It fills up real quick. October 16th, just confirmed the date right here on Facebook Live. So.
Yes, I read it and I remembered it. Good for me.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks. I retained some things. Okay. So going back to, we were talking about the MLB payroll and the idea that they're floating around $100 million minimum per team. Looking at this right now, I can name a few teams that are under the $100 million minimum, 2 of which are leading their divisions. So it can happen. The Brewers are just under the $100 million mark. They're leading the AL Central. And the Tampa Bay Rays are well under the $100 million mark, somewhere around the $75 million. They're leading the AL East. The Dodgers, on the other hand, have a $267 million payroll. The second-place Yankees, who also have a little winning streak going on. They had their 11th win, tied their longest streak since 1985. They have a $203 million payroll. All six last place teams fall in the bottom half of the list of teams that are under there. Among the top 10 in payrolls, only the Angels and the Mets are sub 500. That's mainly because of injuries. The A's and the Mariners are both in the bottom 10 of payroll, but they have young talent. They have team-friendly deals, and they are both in the thick of the AL wildcard race. I mentioned that Tampa Bay and Milwaukee are in just under it, and they lead their division. Cubs and the White Sox have a similar payroll, but the White Sox are over. They're around the 560 mark, and a little bit more than that. Looks like about 570 winning percentage. Cubs, on the other hand, not. They're south of 450. The Reds are just around 130 million. They're flirting just around 550 winning percentage. So it does make a difference. The Indians have the lowest payroll, and they're at 500.
Wow.
So, I mean, it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
Just...
It's going to be a little tougher.
Yeah. But it's just to see, like, the $100 million mark. Like, the Rangers are under $100 million. The Pirates are under $100 million. Marlins, Royals, Tigers. I already mentioned the Mariners, Indians, A's, Brewers, Rays, and Orioles. They're all under the $100 million mark that if they came through the $100 million minimum. So, just some things to look at as well. All right, we have to take a break, our first break of the hour. I'm glad we got our volume back at Facebook Live, and happy that everyone's on there making comments and that we can address your comments. Roland's going to come in and meet us soon. We're going to talk a little bit to him about QC Sportsnet, and then we're going to talk NFL. We're going to do our cross-off. We're going to try to figure out who's the contenders and who's the pretenders right away, and from what we know. And so we're going to do that. We'll be right back here at Don't Hassle Us, We're Local, ESPN 1170 AM.
This is Coach A.C. Earl. Don't hassle us, we're local.
What's your car's monthly payment? There's a good chance that First Midwest Bank can lower it. Just like refinancing a mortgage, First Midwest Bank can refinance your auto loan too. That means lower payments, lower interest rates, and higher monthly savings. Plus, you can wait up to 60 days to make your first payment. Go to firstmidwest.com/auto-refi to apply and drive down your car payments today. Member FDIC, subject to credit approval, vehicle insurance required.
You and your phone have been through a lot this past year. It's been your lifeline to the world. And now some big wireless company is telling you got to buy a new phone from them and sign their contract? They don't control you. With TracFone Wireless, you can keep the phone, number, and network you already have. Already got a 5G phone? Keep that too. Because TracFone runs on America's best networks now with 5G nationwide. Plus, we've got unlimited talk and text smartphone plans starting at just $20. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control. 5G nationwide access requires a 5G capable device. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
O'Reilly. When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish is...
It's pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
From the gridiron to the 9-iron, experience the thrill of the game anywhere in Iowa with Elite Sportsbook. You can now sign up for Elite Sportsbook on your phone anywhere in Iowa and receive your first bet risk-free, up to $500. Just visit EliteSportsbook.com to create an account, and your first bet is on us, up to $500. It's time to play your game with Elite Sportsbook. For a limited time only, valid only in Iowa. Must be 21. Visit EliteSportsbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling a problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Football will be back before we know it. And whether you're home gating or tailgating this season, Tyson's has you covered with everything you need to cheer on your team. Check out new styles of collegiate apparel and save 20%. Step up your game and get some new gear with canopies, chairs, blankets, and more. Now up to 20% off. Kick off your season with a new grill to out-tailgate the competition with select grills on sale now. All these great deals and more now through August 29th. Tyson's Home, Farm, Auto.
I'm Taylor Bisciotti with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. The Jaguars just lost one of their key offensive players before the season even began. First-round pick Travis Etienne landed on season-ending injured reserve after suffering a foot injury in Monday night's loss to the Saints. The Jags plan to use Etienne at both running back and receiver this season. Elsewhere, a recent report claims that several NFL coaches believe that they've, quote, figured out how to stop Lamar Jackson this season. Here was the Ravens quarterback's response on Tuesday.
We're going to keep playing football. We're going to see. But I doubt it, dude. I doubt it. I strongly doubt it.
In other news, Bears head coach Matt Nagy confirmed Andy Dalton will be the team's Week 1 starting quarterback, but rookie Justin Fields will start Chicago's preseason finale on Saturday. And the Panthers signed receiver Robbie Anderson to a 2-year, $29.5 million extension. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Stream all your favorites with the Disney Bundle.
What did you expect?
Disney Plus has Loki and Luca. Hulu has originals like Summer of Soul and Love Victor. And ESPN Plus has exciting UFC matchups and new episodes of Stephen A's World. Sign up at DisneyPlus.com and get the Disney Bundle for $13.99 a month. Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. Get the Disney Bundle today. Includes Hulu ad-supported plan. Terms apply. See DisneyPlus.com for details.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com.
Get out your black hat. Your new home of White Sox baseball is the Quad Cities sports leader, ESPN 1170.
Hi, this is Derek.
And this is Skip. We are the twins from Bar Davenport.
And you are listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
On ESPN 1170 AM.
All right, everyone. We got everything situated. We're up at live, volumes live up on Facebook Live. We're on ESPN 1170 AM. You can also listen to us on your app, on your smartphone. You can listen to us on your radio. You can listen to us, ESPN1170am.com. Those are the twins, and let me tell you about the R Bar in Davenport. It's your place. It's for an upscale and sophisticated atmosphere. Our bar is located at 4907 Utica Ridge Road and prides itself on its fine wines and liquors, unique cocktails and martinis. From Busch Light to bougie, the R-Bar has something for everyone, which makes it a great fit for you and your friends. Have a drink, grab a bottle of wine to share, and watch a game. You can do all of that at the R-Bar. Make sure to check out their Facebook for live music, announcements, specials, and much more. And while you're there, make sure to like their page. See you tonight at the R-Bar in Davenport on Utica. In studio, joining Adrian and I, Roland from QC Sportsnet is with us. Roland, how are you?
Hey, guys, doing great.
Haven't seen you since the NBA championship.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been invited back on the show.
Oh, wow. That's a shot there.
Thing. I mean, it must have been, yeah. Hey, NBA, let's talk about it. I mean,
all right. I mean, were you nervous there for a while?
I think I saw you after Game 2 against the Nets, and you pretty much wrote them off right then.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that was the championship series for me. The Nets-Bucks, that was it. No disrespect to the Suns, good team.
Yep. Suns,
I don't think, had the playoff experience to really get through it. That was kind of their first go-around to it. But that was a lot of fun. I mean, as a kid from Milwaukee who grew up during the Sidney Moncrief and Bob Lanier eras, who always had, Larry Bird or Dr. J in the way blocking us, it was so much fun. 50 years, and that city had some fun that night for sure.
Did you go up there for the party?
Unfortunately not. No. I took the kids up there early August, and we spent a couple $100 at the fan shop and got a bunch of Buck stuff and went to a Brewers game and had fun there. But I looked at tickets. I did. I looked for tickets for Game 6, and I looked at it before Game 5, and they were like $400 a piece. And I thought about taking my kids, and I'm like, but then I started to think, what if we lose Game 5? Do I really want to be in the stands for Game 6 where Phoenix could win it? And then I'm like, well, I'll wait until after they win Game 5, and by then tickets were like $5,000 a piece, and it was like, I can't mortgage the house to go to this game.
I kind of wish I would have just went up there just for the atmosphere outside and just hung out outside and watched the game from there.
Yeah, other than everyone catching COVID, it was like a great time.
Is that really a thing, was it?
It was. There was a spike in Milwaukee County a week later.
Do you still feel like maybe you were a shoe size away from losing that?
No doubt about it. That was a classic game. Oh, man.
That is one of the craziest things ever, that his shoe size he wears too big and his foot's on the line, and it would have been a 3, not a 2.
That was,
But I mean, you can't. It doesn't matter. I don't care what they like. Oh, they would have.
You still got to score in overtime there, and they did not.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things that people want to just kind of take away from the Bucks. But it was great for them and good for the state of Milwaukee. And now he's the Greek Freak is a part owner of the Brewers.
Yeah, he was there last night, and they showed him on TV for the first time in the 8th inning, I think, or 7th inning. Whenever the Brewers rallied, like right after they showed Giannis on TV, they scored 5 runs. Won that game, so the guy could do no wrong.
You got to impress the good new owner, man. He's
and
there.
Now, can he sign up to be an owner of the Packers? Can he go online and get one of those pieces of paper that says he's an owner? And now he's just can take all of it.
I think he's waiting to see what Aaron does next year.
I think we're all waiting to see what Aaron's going to do. That's an interesting thing, and we're going to talk about the NFL a little bit later. But no, and we were talking about the Brewers beforehand, how low their payroll is and how well they're doing.
Yeah,
It's pretty amazing. Them and the Rays are under the $100 million mark.
Yeah, David Stern's a GM of the year, right? I mean, what the deals he pulls off, and you can just go back a couple years. The deal he got for Christian Yelich, for basically trading away Lewis Brinson, who I mean, who is Lewis Brinson at this point?
Exactly.
It's turning out to be, even though Yelich is having a down year.
Yep.
But yeah, just the guy pulls off these deals and gets these guys in there, and Freddie Peralta has stepped up, and Corbin Burns has been amazing. Woodruff, I mean, those 3 pitchers give you a chance in the playoffs.
Do you think this is the new Christian Yelich now? I mean, last year I know it was just a small sample size, but it hasn't looked good now for 2 years.
It hasn't, no, and there's some worry there. I mean, he has come on here the last couple of weeks or so. He had some back problems, that knee injury, the injury to his knee where he basically ended his year the other year. I think that's still
lingering there.
Yeah. I think there's some health issues there. So we'll see. I mean, luckily there's enough components around him that are helping this team out, but I haven't given up hope on him yet.
Did I see you guys just put Eduardo Escobar on the IL?
He is on the IL. Freddie Peralta's on the Il.
He left the game last night, didn't he?
Adames is more a day-to-day thing.
Okay.
Yep.
Good, because he's on my fantasy team. I need him to be okay.
Ever since he got out of Tampa Bay.
Hey, you're not wrong. That's right. When I picked him up, too, he's been tearing the cover off the ball. Really has.
No doubt about it.
Well, Roland, before we start talking about the NFL and breaking some things down, tell me about the QC Sportsnet, what you guys got going on.
Yeah, we're in our 8th year, believe it or not. 8th year starting off here this weekend, Friday night, big night of high school football, kicking it off. Our 2nd year of covering 6 teams, 3 on each side of the river. Exclusive home for Bettendorf Bulldogs, Pleasant Valley, Davenport North on the Iowa side, and we'll also be covering Rock Island as we have from day one, Moline, and United Township again this year. Panthers, UT, what did they do last year?
That was a good year last year, yeah.
That was a big bounce back year. So a lot of excitement in the East Moline community, and just going to be another fun year. We will have every game for those 6 schools, home and away, through the playoffs. We'll do it again for high school boys basketball and a lot of girls basketball games as well for those 6 schools.
And that's QCSportsnet.com, right?
QCSportsnet.com. Just go to that page and I'll have all the information there, a link for you to listen to the game for free.
Do you get assigned a specific team, or do you just get assigned a game week by week?
It's kind of we are assigned teams is kind of the plan. There's some movement there. We can, I've done other teams in the past, and if you need guys to pick up games, we have a nice roster of broadcasters, some really good guys. And for the most part, we try to stick one broadcaster on one team. That way you get to know them better, and it makes for a better broadcast.
So do you have one in particular that you call more? That you think?
I'm on Davenport North this year. I did them last year. I've done Bettendorf in the past, but it's going to be the North Wildcats this year right now.
And I've been reading good things about them.
It should be a good year. They got that. We did that game together last year, the Bettendorf game, and I mean that was a great game. Well, if you love defense, it was a great game.
Yeah.
It was 0-0 in the third quarter. But you got Nolan Mosier coming back at quarterback. He's going to be a junior now. He's put in a lot of work in the offseason. Went to camps in Northwestern, Kansas State, Missouri. So expecting better things out of him. The offensive line, the entire offensive line is back.
Oh, wow.
So that's going to help a lot. Going to give him some more time. They rely so much on throwing the ball that that's big to have all 5 of those guys back. And I think 9 starters on offense total are back for North this year. So you do lose one of the best wide receivers in the state in Quincy Wiseman. He's now a preferred walk-on at Iowa State University. So that's a big loss. But you got those guys back, and then the star of the team is his brother Dominic Wiseman, already receiving offers from FCS schools, walk-on offers for some bigger schools, Power 5 conference schools, and I see him having a pretty big year. That kid is really good.
We've talked about this. It seems a little bit odd. We had Stocking on last week. The whole schedule thing is a little bit off now.
It's different. It's what they wanted to do before last year, before COVID struck, right? They want to go to this power system, this traditional where should you be system. Now they moved to 5 classes this year, or 7 classes total.
Sure.
5A is what so you move from 48 teams to 36 teams now in the top class, playing for 16 playoff spots. So not quite half the field will make the playoffs, but close to half. So you're looking at 5 and 4. There'll be some teams there. 6 and 3 should get you in, but you don't play everybody in your group. It's not conference. It hasn't been for a while in football. It's groups, but you don't play your entire group. There's 6 groups of 6 teams. You kind of play like 4 of them, and then you have this assigned game, they're calling it. And they all play at the second to last week of the year. You have your assigned game. Bettendorf plays Cedar Falls. And they just making them play because they're 2 traditionally good teams. They're trying to pit teams that have that same kind of history together. Pleasant Valley will play at Dubuque Senior this year for that assigned game. Davenport North gets Muscatine. So I don't know. They're trying to do this. It's going to come down to now. The tricky part for me is if you win your group, it doesn't matter. You finish second, third, it doesn't matter. The whole playoff system for 5A. Just for 5A now is at-large seating.
So it's based on your FPI?
So everybody in your group could make the playoff.
Football Power Index or RPI.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to go to this RPI thing to determine who goes to the postseason in 5A.
Okay. It's going to be tricky because, me being from here or whatever else, I'm so used to just the MAC. You win the MAC and move on. And I know they've gone to district football, whatever else, but still, you still kind of, if there was 8 districts or whatever else, you kind of knew that District 7 was half the MAC, District 8 was the other one, and you could play out of it a little bit. And for a while there was that, you kind of kept the Bettendorf assumption thing, and that went to the wayside, and I understand that. But now it's all going to be about numbers. When you're looking at the higher classes, you're going to be paying attention to who won where and whatnot, and if you're on the outside looking in.
Yeah, you got to have that good schedule.
I guess it's a lot of the good part about it, because when you go to like the last 3 or 4 games in the season, if you're a coach and you're on the outside looking in, that's your motivation factor to be like, hey, we're going to have to do some scoreboard watching, and we're going to have to win games. So, I mean, and that might give the extra push to some of those kids. And if you can see that, if you can see the playoffs in the horizon, because that's all what you want to do. You want the shot to get to the Dome. And we've seen in the past some schools around here where it may seem bleak. They might start off 0-3, 0-4, and the playoffs have been expanded, but they might start off 0-3 and 0-4, and they've lost players because they're moving on to basketball season. They've just, do you know what I'm saying? Some of the schools that kind of do that, they're just like, well, I'm going to go focus on basketball now. I'm just going to quit the team, and so maybe now this will kind of keep kids interested, and there'll be parity as well, because we've heard things like from like the Des Moines schools, the public schools, like, hey, we've combined in the past 5 years, won and whatever against Valley, Ankeny, Southeast Polk, and the same thing with the Davenport schools against some of them. Not the best record. So.
And I think that's what they're trying to do with this schedule, to get those like Des Moines teams, Des Moines East, Des Moines Lincoln, not having to take on West Des Moines Valley every year and Dowling and face the gauntlet that is the suburban teams out there.
Of course, and I think that's the important thing, because you want to keep kids active and the sport. And you don't want to see the numbers go down, because they're going down. With everybody, it starts with the concussions from there, and then time constraints, whatever else. You want to keep the numbers up the best that you can.
Hey, I tell you what, we talked about North just real quick.
Sure.
We should talk about Pleasant Valley, because they went to the Dome last year,
they sure did.
and they got a lot of players back. I was just kind of looking at them last night, and Barrett Lindmark. Anytime you return a quarterback, that's a good thing. Andrew DePape is already getting interest. He's just going to be a junior this year, tight end, defensive end, and people have him listed 4 stars already. And,
speaking of juniors,
yeah, he's going to be something in this offensive line.
I was saying, speaking of juniors, there's a coach junior. There's a coach junior.
Yeah,
he was going to be doing some things too.
Old Rusty, and I looked at the roster, and the Rusty's other son, the freshman, is listed on the varsity roster.
Oh wow.
So, that should be fun. But their offensive line is just huge. Aiden Killstrom, 6'4", 280. Luke Vandahar, 6'4", 260. Ryan Sadler, 6', 270. Nate Cox, 6'1", 293. I mean, this is a high school offensive line. And, wow.
Pretty hard to get around that.
They're going to, PV is going to be a team to be reckoned with all year long.
Yeah, obviously, like you said, bring back quarterback. I like what they said in Koss's article in the Quad City Times, that they're like, we're not gonna pay attention to the noise. We're just gonna stay focused, and good for them. They should. And when you bring back that type of talent, you need to stop making it such a celebration just to make it to the Dome. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And instead of, I've been saying this for years, because obviously I live in the community or whatever else, and Pleasant Valley has always been up and coming in all their programs, and they're there. I mean, obviously they won state baseball title, soccer title, and boys. Their volleyball program's great. Coach Hall beat Davenport Central last night, shut them out. And their softball program's doing well too.
Girls basketball, Coach Getz.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what I've been saying is, you want to, instead of going to the Dome and making it where you take your family and you tour you and I, and it's a great day, and you get OP pizza, whatever else, or you go to Mulligan's and we're just happy to be here. That needs to stop. It needs to be, we're here for business now. And I hope that's what not hope. I'm assuming, knowing Coach Van Wetzinga, that's what he's instilling into them this year, is that they've got to focus here.
It'll be great for the whole community. It seems like we always have some good teams, and then you get to those playoffs, and it's those Cedar Rapids teams, the Iowa City teams, not really Cedar Rapids, but that region that's kind of always been the roadblock. And you look at the Bulldogs especially, that's kind of been that roadblock.
Well, don't get me wrong. There has been times in the past where they may have beaten them Pleasant Valley has beaten Bettendorf in the regular season, and they've run into them in the postseason. And even though it's a 10-6 victory, it's a victory that they got over them. You know what I'm saying? So they got past past that, and they played well after that until they got they ran into what they ran into. But it was I think they've got a lot of promise, so it should be fun to watch and see what they're doing. And it's good for it's good for our area just to have that. On the Illinois side, what are we looking at?
UT is going to be a fun story again.
Yep.
Now, they graduated a lot of players. I think 20 seniors I was reading graduated off that team. So, can they instill that in those younger guys? Is this like a program change? That remains to be seen. And Moline is always a fun team to keep your eyes on. And Coach Morrissey does a great job over there. And we'll see what they can do. And then, Rocky's always going to be in it. And the Western Big Six, it's fun because they actually have a conference, right? They don't play this district stuff. So, Sterling came in and Geneseo came in, and I think that added a lot to the Western Big Six because those are two pretty good, storied programs right there. So, Geneseo's down a little bit. Sterling's always going to be up there. So, that's kind of the outlook there. But I think it's going to be a real tight race. I don't see anyone going undefeated in the Western Big Six. And you could have a 2-loss team kind of still win that. So, it should be a fun, tight race over there for sure.
Before we go to break, talk to me about QC Sportsnet and the Storm, what you guys got brewing.
Yeah, some big news announced late last week. QC Storm, we are adding professional sports to our plate. Done a great job covering the high school sports now, going in our 8th year. This will be our first kind of doing professional sports, but we've reached an agreement with the QC Storm. We'll be broadcasting all their home games, the home regular season and home playoff games on QCSportsnet.com. So if you're a hockey fan, definitely check it out. Ken Jacoby's going to handle most of those duties. He was the former broadcaster when the QC Mallards were in town. He did 3 years of broadcasting, does a great job with hockey. Also my boss, so I got to say good things there. So,
there you go. Good plug.
Yeah, definitely. So I know Ken's excited. We're excited. And kind of a new chapter for QC Sportsnet. So QC Storm home game starting in October 15th, believe it or not, already just around the corner. Hockey back. And that'll be good because last year COVID wiped out the season. So getting those guys back and some professional hockey back here in the Quad Cities
what a
will
weekend.
Be great.
Yeah, that's
the
a good
15th,
weekend.
it's going to be the first game Storm.
Mm-hmm.
The 16th is going to be Bowling for Boobies. You know what else is the 16th, Adrian?
What?
You get a tryout for the Steamwheelers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're having open tryouts. For the QC Steamwheelers. So
my knee hurts.
I think I pulled a hammy.
Yeah. Let's sit this one out.
I don't think Doug would want me to show up on that day. I saw that today, and I was like, maybe I'll just ask him to come on the show. I don't think he wants me to show up. And
Are they playing cornhole this year?
I don't think so.
No, okay,
No,
all right.
Maybe halftime you can do that. Maybe, but what if we just showed up and we said we wanted to be the holder? That's it. That's all. And they're like, what position? The holder. And then but I don't even know if I could do that well.
Laces out.
Yeah,
that's it, right. Quarterback, just the guy that holds that clipboard.
That's right.
Yeah,
get that. Yeah, and get the headphones on too.
Maybe a couple of signs.
Yeah. Yeah. I could do that too. Yeah, we'll have to ask Doug. But yeah, what a weekend! Bowling for Boobies on the 16th. You got hockey, and that'll be on QC Sportsnet too, and QCSportsnet.com also.
Sounds like my weekend's planned.
Yeah, I know.
Already set. Yeah, write that down in my planner here.
So, all right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're gonna get everything ready for Emily, and then we're gonna just have to push back our segment when we do the contenders, pretenders of the NFL. We're going to whittle down to who we think is going to do well in this year and who has a shot at the actual Super Bowl. So we'll do that and more. 1 o'clock, Emily's going to be on, but we're going to take a break first here on ESPN 1170 AM. Don't hassle us for local.
Says he's going to make your Rudy Poo candy ass famous.
You like that? You like that?
Give me a hell yeah! I said, give me a hell yeah!
This is Tyson Blazer, and you're listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local on ESPN 1170 AM.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like the world is throwing everything it has at you, and to succeed, you need someone to guide you through. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the tech advice to help you navigate whatever challenges you're up against and get you safely to where you want to be. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL and do more with modern devices and Windows 10 Pro.
From lines of credit in Chicagoland to equipment finance loans in the Quad Cities to better cash flow in Milwaukee, First Midwest Bank is committed to using our local knowledge and ideas to help our clients get their business momentum back. Visit wehaveideas.firstmidwest.com. You have plans, we have ideas. First Midwest Bank, member FDIC.
The Max Kellerman Show. And when you think about the Rams offense and what McVay can do with Stafford, like think about what he did with Goff and Gurley. Remember a couple of years ago, it was like the Rams have 3 MVPs on their team. 3 guys in the conversation. About 2/3 of the way through that season, I'd say. The Rams' offense has not been the same since. And going into this season, I thought, you know what? They got Cam Akers now. Since week 11 of last season, including the playoffs, Akers is number 1 in rushing yards, scrimmage yards, and scrimmage touchdowns on the Rams. So I thought, they got their guy now. That offense is going to be a problem. In fact, even talking about, will Stafford win a Super Bowl on the Rams, my first instinct was say no. That is a huge hit for the Rams to take.
The Max Kellerman Show. Weekdays at 2 on the Quad Cities Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
Over the past few years, people in the Quad Cities have been buying online more and more. Now, since the pandemic hit, online sales have absolutely skyrocketed. Having an online presence was important before, but now it's an outright necessity. But don't worry, MyLocalCustomers.com is here to help. All you need to do is go to MyLocalCustomers.com to receive a free competitive analysis to see what Town Square Media can do for you. We'll help you find more local customers online and help grow your business faster. Town Square offers premium website services that get you new leads every day, plus a dedicated marketing specialist who will work with you the whole time, so you don't have to mess with updating a website. It's fast and easy with no contracts, so you can cancel at any time. Be one of the first to sign up and receive $500 in free advertising on ESPN 1170 AM. As a business owner, you know how hard it is to get people to cross a bridge to get to your business. These days, they don't need to. Find your customers and keep your customers. Go to MyLocalCustomers.com.
It's time to rise and grind. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin.
I don't know if I want Justin Fields right out of the gate just to be the guy. I would like for him to ease himself into it. But I started finding myself thinking, if he does start right out of the gate, does that buy Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace another year? Is it bad that I'm even putting myself in that situation now? I'm thinking about, are you doing what's best for the player, Justin Fields? Are you doing what's best in the interest of Matt Nagy or Ryan Pace to make sure that, hey, we gave our rookie a start, we gave him everything he needed, a quarterback like Andy Dalton who's there to help him out, build him up. It's going to take some time, guys. But we got to be patient.
This isn't Jacksonville. This is a playoff team. I wouldn't mind starting him immediately because they got pieces in place, especially on defense. Offensively, they've gotten better. Allen Robinson is back now. So when you look at it, it's like, if he wins the job, it might make sense to start him.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. Mornings on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
Score a major payday with BetMGM. It's the best time to sign up for the king of sportsbooks because they're giving new customers a shot at an easy $100. Register using code Foster100 and win $100 in free bets when you place a $1 moneyline wager on the Cubs or Rockies. And if either team hits a home run, you win regardless of your bet's outcome. Whether you're raising the stakes on baseball or wagering on your favorite soccer team, BetMGM is always ready for action. Enjoy innovative parlay selection builders, daily promotions, boosted odds specials, and more. Download the app or go to BetMGM.com and use code Foster100 to win $100 when you bet $1 on the Cubs or Rockies. And if either team hits a home run, you win. Only at BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. New customer offer, paid and free bets. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 or older. Iowa only. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
The granddaddy of them all, the 67th Annual O'Reilly Auto Parts World Series of Drag Racing returns to Cordova International Raceway. Feel the thunder of top fuel dragsters and nitro funny cars. Meet the legendary Big Daddy Don Garlitz and Arnie the Farmer Bestwick. Discounted tickets available at participating O'Reilly Auto Parts stores or online at racecir.com. Don't miss the biggest motorsports event of the year, the 67th Annual O'Reilly Auto Parts World Series of Drag Racing, August 27th through the 29th at Cordova International Raceway.
Drive around all day with the latest sports talk in your car on the Quad Cities Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
Welcome back. Don't Hassle is local here on ESPN 1170 AM. Roland's in studio in the Hassle Castle with us. The Hassle Castle brought to you by our bar in Davenport. Adrian's with us as well. We're just a few minutes away talking to Emily Van Buskirk. She's our college football reporter. We get to find out her schedule, where she's going to be. Fingers crossed she's going to make it to Iowa City this year. We're going to talk to her about expectations of maybe some of the things out of the Pac-12. But more importantly, Adrian, Roland, the Alliance announcement. Do you guys have any thoughts on the Alliance announcement?
I just want to see how it's all going to work out. There's a lot of rivalries. I feel like we're going to lose real quick with this going on.
It doesn't. The Alliance announcement is nothing more than an announcement.
Yeah, it was nothing. It was like, hey, we're still here. Remember us?
Yeah.
I thought about this last night, and I see it as playing a game of Risk with 4 of your buddies, right?
Sure.
And
I like where this is going.
one guy already lost, i.e. the Big 12.
Yep.
Right? He's done. You got another guy that controls everything. He's got Australia, most of Africa, controls 50% of the board. You're sitting there with two of your buddies.
So that's the Big Ten.
Yeah, well, no, that's the SEC. And you're sitting there.
I'm with you.
You're sitting there with your 2 buddies, going, oh, "Why are we even playing this anymore?" Right? We got to have an alliance. The 3 of us, we can't attack each other anymore. Right? All we do is we're going to battle that guy who's winning SEC.
Yeah,
and that's why
that's why we're the 3 with the Pac-12, ACC, and Big Ten. That would be the Big Ten that has it all, and the 3 that the alliance. But yes, you're right. The one that has it as the SEC. It is an agreement of to continue to promote sports, everything, student athletes, but we have no agreement whatsoever. We have nothing on paper. We have a tacit agreement.
They said nothing. It was like, okay, and it was so Big Ten-ish, we're going to do research together, and we're going to, okay, I get it. We're trying to be the smart ones, right? Not the jocks. We're the smart kids that also play sports. Okay, but what people want to know is what, the nuts and bolts, and I don't think they know the nuts and bolts yet.
No.
And basically all that came out of it, I guess, is that all these contracts that are in place, i.e. Iowa State, they're going to stay. No one's going to break any contracts, and a lot of them have contracts through 2030. So, we're looking at 7-8 years before we see Oregon against Florida State or Iowa against Arizona, any of these games that people would get excited about. There's just nothing there to be excited about right now.
Yeah, it was just a big bunch of we know what you're doing, SEC, so we're together. And it's basically and Kaker was on yesterday, it was kind of the thing we all now agree that we have a common interest, and when we're voting, it's going to be in a common interest of us 3 and not you, SEC, is the kind of the thing that what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, so, it's just like, okay, SEC's bowling the world again, and they made the headlines. They stole the show, getting Texas and Oklahoma. We got to do something to make a splash ourselves, and I don't know this is a splash.
Well, it went from where we were speculating, Adrian and I being well, this looks like a situation where it could be an AFC, NFC, and the SEC would just be one part of it, and these 3 would be another, and the Big 12's kind of out there to do whatever else. And
those things are coming, though, right?
They
they have to be, right?
But it wasn't
I know they just.
It was just we're doing something in the future, and we're making this huge announcement, but it will be in the future.
How long do you think it'll take?
It's going to take, I think, that under the contracts, whatever else, I think it's, I actually probably have paperwork in front of me over here, but it's going to be a few years, maybe 2025 at best, before all this can happen. Let's see.
That's when the Iowa State contract ends.
Yeah.
2025.
Yeah, so let's see.
I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be overnight, but I felt like 2023 was going to be the time.
I think. Well, the thing is, I think it's 2025. That's why it's in my head, because I think the college football playoff runs through 2023, and then and that's when Texas and Oklahoma can go, right? 2025.
Unless things get expedited, which they might.
And if they're expedited, it'll be 2023, and we talked about the stocking because that's when they can change the college football playoff. Is the 2023, and that's when it'll go to 12, and then everyone will be expedited. And it's kind of like the Bears in their lease with in Soldier Field. And the mayor of Arlington said that to the mayor of Chicago. Well, lawyers get paid a lot to find loopholes, so I think we're okay. I'm not too worried about, and I think that's what all these that are in these conferences are going to go. I'm not too worried about it. If we want to do it, we're going to do it. And maybe the NCAA it's so far ahead of themselves, and they're going to have a special meeting in November, and this is going to be on the table. They're going to go, fine. Just do it already. All right, let's talk to Emily. Maybe we'll get some type of insight on what she thinks. It was her birthday last week, by the way. 21 finally. I think. Just kidding. This is my favorite part.
Yeah, the anticipation.
It just never connects fast enough for me.
Hello.
Hey, Emily. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
All right, we got Roland in studio, we got Adrian in studio, and now we got you on the line. Was your birthday fun?
It was fun, but definitely more mellow than previous years. I think as you get older.
What? Your 21st birthday was mellow?
Oh my God, you're so sweet. Yeah, I had a little bit of a summer cold. I always get like a little cold the week of my birthday in the summer, so I was just kind of laying low, getting ready for the season. So,
speaking of the season, we've got a lot to talk about because you cover the Pac-12 pretty well, and we're here in Big Ten country, so we've got some things to talk about because they had a little announcement, a little gathering, a little friendship, if you will, yesterday about 24 hours ago that we need to unpack. But really what we're calling for is Sideline Sass, your podcast. You released your schedule for the week, what you're covering. What do you want to tell us what you're going to be covering this year?
Oh my goodness! So I sat down with somebody who is very, very interesting. His name is Mike Barker, and he's just a fan of football, and he calls himself a game traveler. So we connected on Twitter, through people because he kind of does what I do, but he does it as a fan, which I think is so interesting. When it comes to, I have to be at these, or not have to, but I go to the games to cover them, and he goes and kind of entrenches himself in the culture and the fans, and it's really cool. So we linked up because we do the same thing from different angles. He's been to 109 FBS stadiums out of 130.
Wow.
And 30 out of 128 FCS. So his goal this year is to get those last FBS stadiums and finally hit all 130, 21 left. So we basically sat down and did two separate podcasts. The first part was released last week where we talk about the games we're covering and why. And then the second half of the schedule, I'm releasing the podcast tomorrow. So that'll go up on Sideline Sass. So people can kind of see where we're going to be and follow the coverage, but also see the reasons behind why we chose the games that we did and, what each of the fan bases brings to the college football table. So if you want to hear the complete list, definitely go check out the podcast. And, but I mean, you could ask me any week and I could tell you there's so many. Right now we're just really focused on the first weekend. This week I'm going to San Jose State because it's local and they're doing a Mountain West Championship celebration, which very excited. They could probably go back-to-back Mountain West Championships this year, which would be huge. And then next week for the official week one, I'll be at Temple Rutgers in New Jersey, and then I'll be heading out to Tulane for the Oklahoma game. So, big first weekend, and that's kind of where my head is at this point.
Absolutely. So this is going to be, like you said, it was released last week on Sideline Sass, and you can listen to that wherever you find podcasts. And you said that part 2 is going to be released later today?
Yeah, I'm finishing it up right now. They're hour-long conversations between he and I, which, they seem kind of expensive, but they're really interesting if you like the nuance of college football and if you want to hear, opinions about your fan base. So it'll be up tomorrow, the second half of the season.
All right, so you listen to that if you want to find your schedule, but you have to tell us, are you coming to Iowa City?
Yes, I am coming to Iowa City.
When? Well, I should be more excited, but it doesn't sound like you're excited. Hold on a second. All right, finally, Van Buskirk has come back to Iowa. All right, when are you coming?
I'm excited, but the problem, and how we preface this is, this is a loosely laid plan, and you know what they say about even the best laid plans go awry. So it depends because already we've had changes made. As you know, we're doing, and I haven't really talked about this much, so you guys will be the first people to kind of hear it, but we are partnering with Joey Chestnut for the season, and he's very busy for the first month, so we're not going to be starting that coverage till October. But when he comes on board, we're actually creating a team of college football eaters. So we're going to go to different schools and cover their games and then select, a player from the home school to compete in the Joey Chestnut Eating Challenge. And if they are able to complete it, then they will make his all-star eating team. And we're going to collect players throughout the season, culminating in the Big Ten Championship in Indy and the National Championship in Indy, which is Joey's home city now. So we're very excited about doing this with him. So some of the games will be dictated by, what he can do, what's easy for him, and then, what would be a good game to, recruit eaters at. So that's the only reason I had pause when it came to coming to Iowa. But we will very much be trying to go to a game out there. I'm just not sure when in the schedule it'll fit in, but it's on my list, I promise.
Okay. That eating challenge sounds the opposite of everything Coach Ferentz wants his kid to do.
Yeah, it sounds messy.
Well, he's got some big eaters on his team. When I was at Big Ten Media Day, I interviewed, I think it was the center,
Linderbaum.
I think
Tyler.
Linderbaum.
Yep.
Yeah, Linderbaum. Yeah. We had a long conversation about food, and he said that he's actually, I think it was him who said that he's a former wing eating champion from his hometown church or something.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to go check that. But there are some eaters on Iowa, and you generally find them in the offensive line.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the defensive line.
Well, he'd be a good one to get. He's a preseason All-American, so.
Yes. Well, he would definitely, and again, when we talk to all these kids about it, they're so excited. And with all the NIL stuff going on, this is kind of a fun way for Joey to incorporate, his brand with, sports, because sports and food are so synonymous. And all these kids and a lot of the coaches watch the hot dog eating contest every year, so they know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And we just think it's going to be a really fun way to, integrate the two things.
So long story short, you don't have a date to come to Iowa City. You're just still flirting with it.
I am looking at November 20th, Illinois at Iowa. That is the one that I had written down. So that was my plan.
At least you're stopping by for a win.
Well, I'm excited. The reason I chose that game partially is because I do like what's going on in Illinois, and I'm curious to see if they build some momentum. I know it's a building year for Velima and everything, but yeah, talking with him at Big Ten Media Day, I was very impressed with his philosophy and himself as a coach and what he's implementing there. So I think that they're going to be better than people think. Now, obviously, I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know, but I think those two programs would be interesting going head to head. And we talked about the head coach at Iowa, Ferentz, and Velima going head to head in an arm wrestling competition, which I told you about last night. But, so it'd be a fun follow up story.
All right. Well, now that you mention it, because I have higher expectations than some do for Illinois as well. But since we have 4 people here right now, Illinois is getting 7 points against Nebraska this weekend. At Nebraska.
Yeah.
I like Illinois plus 7.
Yeah, I'm not sold on Nebraska, and I told you Scott Frost and I kind of got into it at Media Day when I asked him about his mantra for the team, and he did not like that question so far as to say that he doesn't believe in sloganeering. He created a whole new word because he didn't like my question.
He said, hold on, you did not tell us this, because I would definitely remember anything anti-Scott Frost. So you asked him about his mantra for the team?
Yeah, because the coaches there were 2 coaches prior to him in the order. I believe it was PJ Fleck and the new coach or the coach at I can't think of I can't remember the other. I can't remember who the other guy wasn't. Rutgers, Shiano. It was another new head coach in his second year.
Michigan State?
Smaller school.
No.
No.
Maryland?
No. I had a whole conversation with Mel Tucker about how he left. No, not Purdue.
You have more stories about getting into it with people than anything else.
Oh, yeah. Well, Mel Tucker I wasn't going to let off the hook because that was just, ridiculous how he left Colorado. So I don't want to get into that. Hold on. I have it in my thing. But what I'll say is there were 2, coaches prior to Scott Frost, and I've never had any, run-ins with Scott Frost. I don't know anything about him. So I just thought, I'm going to ask him. Oh, it was Michael Locksley. And he said that they had a mantra. Loxley is at, I can't,
Maryland,
I'm trying to find the thing.
Maryland.
It's got to be Maryland.
Maryland,
Yeah.
yes, thank you, Maryland, yes. So it was TJ Fleck and Michael Loxley, and they both had like a little moniker mantras that they were using for the season. And Michael Loxley's was very interesting, particularly he said no BCEs, no bitching, complaining, or excuses.
Okay.
And it was like very, interesting to hear all these programs having little identifiers. So I thought, okay, I'm going to ask the next guy about his. So I get up, I have a whole video of this. I'll post it. It's hilarious. And I get the mic and I'm like, Coach Frost, there were 2 coaches before you talking about their, mantras for the season. Do you have one for Nebraska this year? And he literally hated the question and was like, I don't believe in mantras. That's sloganeering. He created the word sloganeering.
I love it. I love it. Will you please make a T-shirt that says no sloganeering, and then on the back do your hashtag make fullbacks great again?
I honestly think that might work. And this made news. Like, it was apparently the funniest question that he got asked because he just he never reacts like that, I guess. Yeah. And he just reacted, and he was like, if players need to be motivated by, a slogan, then those are the wrong guys in my program. So I literally was just like, okay, great. Thank you. And that was it. But so I'm a little bit frosty on Nebraska right now.
You should have asked him about opposing coaches clapping or hoodies. There's so many things to ask Scott Frost about.
Well, why does he get so irritated about everything? What is his problem?
I don't know. Wasn't there a thing also like
because he lives in Nebraska?
Yeah, and then when they moved to Nebraska, didn't he said he got robbed, but his wife just misplaced the items, or Scott misplaced the items, or something like that. Like, this guy has an excuse for everything. They misplaced boxes when they moved, and he said he got robbed.
He sounds like somebody that should live in Nebraska.
Yeah, he deserves it. He deserves to live there.
He was the golden boy in Orlando. He came back home, and he's not doing the job that everyone expected him to do. Of course,
it's not as easy as it seems to come back home and revamp a program. So he's definitely got pressure, and I get that. But you would think you catch more flies with honey than vinegar, and you'd want to be nice to the media because they're the ones that are going to narrate the season. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. So, they're the ones that are going to promote you, and in this day and age with social media, that's what you need. You need to be promoted in a better light. So
I like Illinois.
I do too, and it's at Illinois, not at Nebraska. Erickson pointed out. But now that you're out there and you brought up the Mountain West on Harrington's Pub Facebook comment thread, he did bring up the Mountain West, and he said, "What do you think about Fresno State to cover the 27.5 against UConn on Saturday?"
Ooh, 27.5. That's the spread? Jeez, that's a lot. Is that Fresno State, I'm assuming?
I believe so, but I will definitely look that up for you right now.
That's important to know. But you know what?
Yes, it's at Fresno State.
Okay. Then, yeah, I would... you know what? This is what I'll say about that. It's a lot of points. That's like a little too many, I think, for a week one, because one of the biggest things that coaches, they hate about week one is that they just don't know what they have until they get out there in that first half. So that's a lot to gamble on a very first game. You know what I mean? Because you don't know what's out there and you don't know how it's going to play out in live action. So I don't know that I would take all those points. That's too many. I think they're going to win. I don't think that's too many points for the first game of the season, in my opinion.
I don't know. Traveling East Coast to West Coast in the UConn program, that's got to be worth a lot of points, though. That's more than like 3 touchdowns. That's a lot to lose by in a game where you haven't executed anything yet. So I don't know. Tedford's good, but he's not that good. Okay, fine. Let's just keep going, though. I want to know. UCLA, Hawaii. UCLA's at home, -18.
UCLA's at home, -18. So I am a big believer in UCLA this season.
You are the only one that I'm reading so far.
I spoke with Chip Kelly last week, and we had a really great phone conversation about the upcoming season and what he's doing. And I think this is the year that people finally see why he has been a great coach at various places over the years. And Hawaii, although I love Todd Graham, and I love that he's at Hawaii living his best life, but it's too soon. So you said 17?
18.
18. I think UCLA is going to win by at least a touchdown. I don't know if it'll be more than 2, though.
Okay. And then you mentioned you're going to San Jose State game. They're playing Southern Utah.
Yeah.
It's -22, San Jose State.
Yeah, I fully. They have big. The only reason I say that is because they have big plans for this home game. It's the Mountain West championship celebration. So there's at least I think 30,000 fans expected. They're going to have students doing some special new things on the field. There's going to be a celebration for that. It's called the Welcome Back San Jose game. So I think because California has been so deprived of college football, this is going to be a huge home environment for them. And I think they're going to come out super fired up after, if you're celebrating your championship win, that's a big ego boost for the game. So I think that's actually that's a good call.
Jay really just does this show to get gambling advice.
Exactly. Trust
I'm
me.
the worst person for gambling advice because it is hard for me to be objective on things that I know.
She's gotten multiple texts from me in West Coast games. Trust me, on a Saturday, been like, "All right,
and I don't know how well I do.
I'm behind. I need to make up. What's going on the West Coast? Here's some lines. Tell me which ones you like."
Did we cover all the games there?
There's other ones out there. There's let's see, the
UTEP at New Mexico State.
Yeah, that's the last one I did write down.
That's that UTEP minus 9.5 on the road.
I honestly have no idea.
That's a rivalry game.
I don't know anything.
I've covered that game
Is
before.
it?
Okay.
I
mean, not recently, so I don't know.
Yeah. There are two other ones.
That could go either way, obviously. So.
There's two other on from Elite Sportsbook. They're FCS schools. It's Eastern Illinois at Indiana State. Indiana State's favored by 13.5, and then Alcorn State at North Carolina Central, and North Carolina Central's a home dog there at plus 13.5. So, are you doing any Big Ten games that you know on your schedule for sure? Oh no! Before you answer that, has Mike been to Kinnick?
I believe he has. Yes, because we spoke in this first half.
Mm-hmm.
This podcast we spoke about traditions, and he talked about the wave and the oversized hands that the kids wear. So I believe that he has. Yes.
Okay, and then has he been to Jack Trice in Ames?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know the 21 stadiums that he hasn't hit. Mm-hmm. I don't think Iowa City is on. Iowa City is on his list. So if it's not on his list for this season, then it's something that he's already done because he had to be very specific about the 21 games that he's doing. So you would have to go look. He released his schedule on Twitter as well. So he's CSB Campus Tours, or Campus Tour. So if you go look, he released it, and it'll show what he has done and where he's going. So.
I think that's one he's just going to skip altogether.
Ames, good call. If you're gonna,
he can't skip any.
All right, so we were talking a little bit before we got you on the air. This announcement of the alliance. What do you make of it?
Mm-hmm. So I sat in on the press conference yesterday. If you can call it that.
I felt like there was air quotes there. We just couldn't see them.
Yeah.
It was, honestly, I'm not as upset about it as a lot of people are up in arms. I really like the new commissioner for the Pac-12. Now, granted, we don't really know what he's made of yet, but anything had to be better than what we had. So I like him. I really admire the Big Ten commissioner. I don't know. I guess some people are not as fond, but I think Kevin Warren's great, and he seems very sincere. He's very smart, and he had the best line of the whole presser as they're talking about this alliance and how they're promoting, college athletics to benefit student athletes and whatnot and keep things the same. He was talking about somebody asked him, I think it was Bruce Feldman. He said, "Did you guys sign a contract?" And they all three, vehemently said, "No, we didn't need a contract. It's a handshake agreement between three gentlemen," which I was dying. This was like watching an old Western movie. It was phenomenal. And then, Warren gets on and he says, listen, he's a lawyer. He went, to Notre Dame Law. And he said, I have an old professor at Notre Dame. He said, he's like, if you have to go reread the contract that you already signed, then you are making a deal with the wrong people. So I thought that was interesting. And I consulted my dad, who is a lawyer as well. And I said, do you think that this is, a good thing or what do you think of not having a contract? And he was like, well, I think it's a nice idea, but it's not the smartest because people might try and leave. And what happens if USC wants to go do something or whatever? So I think we saw a really nice conversation between three very, scholarly, upstanding men, and that's kind of all you can really take from it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was like we're going to do something. I think in the end, it was just we're all going to agree to vote the same way, and that way SEC doesn't have all the power. That's what I took.
Right, and they want to keep the consistency within, but they want to add more exciting matchups, which is really what you're doing to keep the top teams from leaving, especially in football. If you can give exciting matchups to USC and Oregon and Stanford and to, Ohio State and even Clemson, if you keep them playing top teams from other conferences, you keep them happy, then they're not going to want to leave. And that's kind of what I got out of it.
So, Emily, if I can ask you, what does this mean for the Big 12? Is this the final nail?
It's so funny. They asked them that on the thing, and the answer was, we want the Big 12 to do well because it's important that they do well, which seems like kind of an arbitrary thing to say, given that they're not part of that deal and they don't really know. There's no talks between them, but I don't really know what's going to happen with the Big 12. The one thing I will say is I've spoken to several coaches in the SEC, and apparently this stuff has been coming for a long time. They've known about it. It was just a matter of when. And the one thing that I've gotten from all the coaches is that the pandemic really sped up this process because of the lack of revenue. So money, again, is a big motivator. And because of everything that was lost during the COVID year, that's why this timeline has been moved up. But apparently this was always inevitable. And many of the coaches I spoke with said it's going to be 4 power conferences and then everybody else. And that's going to be eventually what college football looks like. So I don't know what that means for how they're going to align things. I just started covering the American Athletic Conference, and I spoke with Eastern Carolina's head coach this morning, Mike Houston, and I said, are you keeping an eye on this? Are you worried? And he was just like, look, we know this is going to shake everything up for us, but we can't do anything about it, and we're just trying to win games while we can in the conference. So I don't really know any more than they do. You know what I mean?
Well, this is the question that's out there for everybody who's on either side of the fence in this. Does Notre Dame just shine out of this and just get to pick and choose whoever they want to play because they're Notre Dame still? I mean, are we still living in 1987?
I hate that. I hate it so much that they might have an advantage having been independent for so long and kind of staying above all of those politics, because it looked like they needed to join a conference to survive, and now it's looking like they could just do whatever they want, and that drives me crazy. It drives me crazy.
Absolutely, because now it's when we talk about revenue and television and everything else, they can sign a deal like they did back in the 80s with NBC or somebody else or Amazon TV, I don't know. And now they can just pick and choose wherever they want to go, and then they still get a chance into the college football playoffs. They won't get a bye because more than likely this is going to end, like you just said, there'll be 4 conferences, and when it expands to 12, like Tom Kakert said from Hawkeye Report, there's your 4 first-round byes, your 4 conferences. So then Notre Dame will just argue the entire time, that's not fair, we're not in a conference, we should get a bye. And then the answer is, well, why don't you just, why can't everybody, since they're doing all this stuff in NCAA, get together and say, we're tired of dating Notre Dame. Somebody needs to marry them.
Well, the Alliance did mention them in the press conference yesterday. They did include Notre Dame in the conversation when they were talking about scheduling and, banding together. I can't remember who it was that threw it out there, but one of the commissioners said, and Notre Dame. So they're obviously trying to keep Notre Dame in that conversation because a lot of the teams in the Big Ten and the Pac-12 do play Notre Dame more than anybody else and the ACC. So I don't know. It felt like maybe they were trying to latch on to them in the Alliance. So that was interesting.
It makes me want to vomit. The idea that they're still and Notre Dame, we want to keep it going with them, or Purdue, so Purdue can play them, and Michigan can play them, and we'll continue to do all this stuff. And just it's
a big draw, though. I don't like it any more than you do, but they're valuable from a college football standpoint. So it sucks.
And that's what's going to happen. And then what's going to happen with the playoffs when Notre Dame finally does squeak their way into some type of bye, then there's going to be some lawyer from one of these conferences that are going to be like, we need to have a legislation that stops this because our team didn't get it. I just can see it coming already. They're trying their best to make it better and speed it up, but there's going to be problems.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's only going to get more crazy. That's what we know for sure. So.
Well,
Welcome to it.
Welcome to it. Well, it's been a long time coming, and I'm glad that you get to do your traveling, and I'm glad that you got a schedule out there, and that's on Sideline Sass Podcast.
Yeah.
Download that wherever you get podcasts. Emily, tell everyone when they can follow you on Twitter.
Yeah, my handle is @Emilnem, EMILNEM, and same on Instagram. So if you want to follow along the journey this season, definitely follow there and check out the Sideline Sass website, sidelinesass with 3S's.com, and we'll have all of the videos and articles and everything there. So
awesome. Emily, thank you so much for your time. Gentlemen, you have any more questions for Emily?
No, she's been fantastic, as always.
Yeah, it's great.
you guys didn't give me any Pac-12 questions, like who I think is going to win. Or
All right. Well, I was going to, but you sit there and say I don't want to put yourself, I don't want to put myself out there. But here's what I got going down there. Right, Oregon is the favorite at plus 250.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. At minus 250, and then at minus 350 is Washington is the next one. I mean plus because you're getting points. Plus 250, plus 350. Then USC, then Arizona State, then Utah. Then at plus 1200 is UCLA.
Okay.
So who's going to win the North, Oregon or Washington?
See, I made a little list. I put Washington ahead of Oregon just based on scheduling.
Okay.
Because when you line everything up, Washington they miss USC and Utah, and that's a huge thing for second-year head coach Jimmy Lake. So Oregon has a tougher schedule, so that makes it more difficult. So I have Washington ahead of them, but I'm not discounting Cal out of this conversation because Cal, I think, is going to get 7 to 8 wins. They're going to have a chance to make a marquee win against TCU, just like they did with Ole Miss to start the season, and I think they're going to have a case. But if I had to choose right now, it would be Washington for the North.
Okay, let's go back to your California conversation. You said you think you're going to get to 8 wins.
I think they get to 7 or 8 wins.
Okay,
yeah.
The over/under for their number for total wins is 6, and the juice is pretty good. You can actually bet on these things, Emily. Anytime you want a tutorial over this, I will gladly put things away. All right, so let's do this as well. California, and by the way, the juice is pretty good at minus 110. What I'm saying that is that you have to put up $110 to win 100, or $55 to win 50. It's actually higher for the under. So what the sports books are saying at minus 120 is that it's more likely that they're going to do 5 or less wins. And you're saying you think they're going to get to 7?
They'll definitely get over 5. Yeah. 100%.
Well, 6 is the number. Yeah, then it's just a push. It's just a waste of time bet. We don't want to tie. But do you think like them over? Like them at 7?
I think 7 to 8 is my number for them because you look at they play Nevada to open. I think that's a win. They go to TCU, but TCU is not as strong in past years, and Gary Patterson has been a little bit in the hot seat. Plus, Cal beat Ole Miss at Ole Miss, so they're very much the team that can win on the road in games like that where they're counted out because they're a Pac-12 team. Then they get Sac State. That's a win. Obviously, they have to go to Washington, which is tough, and I see as a loss. But then they get Washington State at home, which they're very good at beating Washington State in Berkeley. So I think that's a win, especially under first-year head coach Rolovich. I'm counting this as his first year. Then they go to Oregon. My weird thing about Oregon is, yes, they should lose that game, but Cal has this knack for winning games that they don't necessarily should be winning. And Oregon is an environment that's tough to plan, but we're going to have to see what COVID does to that in the state. Then they get Colorado at home. That's a win under first-year head coach. Oregon State at home. Jonathan Smith's doing fantastic things for the Beavers, but he's not there yet, so I think Cal wins that game. They go at Arizona. That's a win. Arizona's in a rebuild. Then they play USC at home, and that to me is going to be the big game. You're at the end of the season. You're going to see what you have left. USC is going to go through some tough bouts before that. That's going to really show us what Wilcox is made of. I think they can beat USC at home. Then they get Stanford at Stanford in the big game. Now, they beat them 2 years ago. Last year was kind of a push because of COVID. So can they get the Axe back at Stanford? I think this is a down year for Stanford, so we could see that be a win. And then they go to UCLA. So it's not unimaginable to think they could get 7 wins out of that schedule, in my opinion.
I like it. The odds are in our favor there. UCLA is at over-under is at 7. You like Chip Kelly.
UCLA is fourth. UCLA is fourth on my list of teams in the Pac-12 in the North. That I like UCLA, but they have a way tougher schedule than Cal. So is it 4 or 5 for them?
What, the over-under?
Yeah, well, you're asking how many do I think they could get?
Yeah, 7 is the number, meaning they have to win your bet. They have to win 8 games. 7 is a push.
For UCLA?
Yep, for UCLA.
No, I don't know that 8. I don't know that they'll get 8. I mean,
Okay.
I'm more confident that Cal would get 8 than UCLA. So.
Okay. And who's going to win
And
the
then
Pac-12
the South?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have Utah as my first team winning the South, and then USC, and then ASU. I think Utah is going to be the team to beat. I mean, they have one of the most winning coaches in the history of the Pac-12. Kyle Whittingham's incredible. I think they get 9 wins. They don't have to play Washington, which is a big miss for them. And they have the Baylor grad transfer quarterback Charlie Brewer, who's incredible. And they have a big late game against Oregon that's going to be kind of the tell-all for whether they can win the whole thing. But I would bet on Utah. Now, I know that normally hasn't panned out, and the Utes have disappointed a lot of people, but I think they're past that now. So
Their over-under is 8.5, so that means they have to get to 9 wins.
I think they're going to get to 9, but it's going to be a battle each time. But
Okay.
I think they can do it. So
Anybody else in the South that you like?
I mean, of course, USC you have to keep an eye on because they're USC. But the problem they get ranked so high early on, and then when they lose, which they play the toughest schedule, especially right off the bat, and they have to play that Stanford game so early, which is always hard for them. I mean, yeah, they play San Jose State first, but then they've got Stanford. Then they have to go to Washington State, which is not easy. Pullman is a very hard place to play. They've got Notre Dame on the schedule. They have to play Utah, which will be tough coming in. So they have they could get 8 to 9. They do miss both Oregon and Washington, which is huge for their schedule, but it's by no means an easy battle for them. And I think they're overrated. I always think they're overrated.
So the under is actually pretty heavily juiced. So their number is 8.5 for Southern Cal.
Yeah, I would, because I think 9 is a stretch. 8 is about where they should hit, but they never hit to where they should. You know what I mean? That's not a Clay Helton specialty. So I don't know, but I like ASU too. So
this is a low number for you. It's got to hurt a little bit with Stanford. I know you like Stanford, but the over-under is 4.5, and there's a heavy juice on the under, meaning you have to put up 175 to win 100. They're saying they're going to win only 4 games or less. Vegas is.
See, and if you were going to go, historically, the last 2 seasons, they've only won 4 games each year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, last year's COVID, okay, and they had, that sounds bad, but it's actually pretty good for the COVID year, whatever. But the year before that, they only won 4 games. And we're talking about a coach that we found out is being paid $4 million a year with bonuses, which I think is incredibly ridiculous. So between the low expectation, the exodus of players in the portal, he has to start over with a lot of things. Now, that being said, there is a lot of talent. Their running back, I can't remember his name right now, but he's one of the best I've seen, although he's young. So I could see David Shaw redshirting him because that's what he does with young players. It's infuriating. So they have to replace quarterback. I don't know. 4.5 is low. I have them at 5 to 6.
Okay.
Depending on how the schedule shakes out. But the first couple games should be very telling. They play K-State on the road at the Cowboy Stadium, and then they play USC at USC. So they could be looking at 0-2, going into week 3. Yeah.
Well, it's plus 155, meaning you put up 100, you win 155. So it's actually worth just a little taste to put that down there and just cheer them on to 5 victories.
Yeah, I might do it. I would probably do it if I were a betting person.
All right. I love it. All right, Emily, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it, and we'll reach out to you soon, and we'll figure out another time to get you on the air. All right?
Sounds good. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks, Emily. Appreciate you. Yep, bye. I just hung up on us, and then I meant to hang up on her. So anyway, then we're back. All right. Well, that's Emily. I mean, that's what she does. She brings all that to the table. She's fantastic.
She did not seem excited about coming to Iowa City.
The thing is, I think she's just so tired of how much homers we are.
Yeah.
Because every time we talk to her and we start talking about Iowa, then she's like, oh, you could just hear her eyes roll every time. So she knows that we want her to come here. She wants to come here. It's just, it's never like...
I want to take a look at that, what stadiums that guy's missed so far.
I know, I'm going to go back to this college football tour or whatever else, on Twitter, so we do need to follow that. We're going to call Mike soon. Usually we take a break, but I don't want to take a break. We'll do it at the end of the show. We'll just run commercials back to back. Let's do the contenders and pretenders in the NFL. All right, first things first, when I think about this is, who made the playoffs last year that's not going to make it this year? There's always a team that's not going to make it back.
I won't say it.
Packers? Packers.
It's not the Packers.
Yeah, I don't think the Packers. I won't say it. I don't know. It's hard for me right now. I don't think I think the Packers and the Bears both made the playoffs this year. The Colts.
The Bears are not. The Bears are the ones that are not making the playoffs.
No, the Bears are gonna make the playoffs. I won't say it on air, Jay. You won't get me to say it on air, and I will be here with Homer and all afternoon long.
Fine.
With the Packers, I think the drama in the offseason season's going to carry over, and it could be a tough year for them.
Do you see Aaron Rodgers possibly getting a tad injured, hurt, and then really making it sure it lingers on?
Can we go with the Washington football team out of the NFC?
I still think they win that division.
I think the Giants are going to win that division, and I don't think anybody else is making the playoffs out of it.
So like last year, they're all going to be kind of mediocre.
I think they're all going to be. Yeah, I think they're going to go 9-8 and win the division.
It's just the Giants' turn to win.
Yeah, I like Joe Judge. I feel like he's got the clubhouse. He's got he's got a bunch of former Alabama coaches up there. Whatever else. I seriously, I think it's 9-8, and whoever gets to 9-8, that's it.
It pains me to say Dallas, but I think Dallas makes it.
Dallas can do it too. I'm just saying I think it's Washington if they don't win the division. But you've got to find some teams that don't to knock them off. I mean, okay, we'll do it. We'll start from the AFC East. Can we all agree the Jets aren't making it to the playoffs?
No, they're not making it.
No, they're not.
The Bengals are not making it.
They'll be better, but I don't.
No,
see
not
them
the playoffs.
Joe Burrow's going to play in the third preseason game.
What is that though?
The AFC South will come back to, because dear Lord, that is just the mess of all messes. All right. And the West is tough. Now Teddy Two Gloves has been named starter in the Broncos. The Chargers have a first year. Chargers have a first year coach.
Yeah, Chargers no.
The Raiders 8-8 last year.
Raiders have a chance.
Okay, so we're out of that group. Denver has a very hard schedule. No, they have the easiest schedule. They have the easiest schedule, according to ESPN's FPI.
I could see the Chiefs and the Chargers coming out of that division for the playoffs. I like the Chargers more than I do the Raiders.
Chiefs obviously a lock.
I like every team but the Raiders. You're right. They were 2-6 at home last year.
But Gruden, man,
2-6 at home, and I don't care if it's a brand new stadium. 2-6 at home. We just said the East. All right, I'm not buying into the Vikings. The only thing I'm buying into is Mike Zimmer, first coach fired. They're not making it.
Yeah, as long as their quarterback's still their quarterback, yeah.
Detroit Lions are not making it.
No, they need some time still.
I could see the Lions being better than the Vikings, though. That'd be interesting.
The NFC South is a very interesting animal itself. Tampa Bay Buccaneers bring everybody back.
Mm-hmm.
All 22. The Falcons should make a pretty good leap. They were 4-12, and they had a scoring differential of only -18. They lost like so many one-score games. It's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. I think it was 8, actually. They could have easily been 12-4.
I think a big team everybody's sleeping on is New Orleans. They've shown they're proven winners over the past years.
30-30, man.
Saints don't make it.
30-30. Jameis doing Jameis things eventually.
I think they gave up on him too soon. I think he's gonna have a good year.
Are you in on Carolina at all with Christian McCaffrey and Sam Darnold now there?
I think it's just that division's going to be tough. It's going to be hard for them to win a lot of games.
Atlanta's the sexy pick to make that jump of 6 games. And when I say that puts them at 10-7. The West in the NFC, who wins this thing? This is an animal. Are we taking the Cardinals out of it?
Man. No, how can you do that?
You can't take anybody out of it.
Anybody out of it.
Well, the thing is, Kyler Murray, it's his legs. We saw what happened after the Hail Murray game. He didn't do anything after that. Yeah. Can he do that long, all year long, 17 games now? You also have to play 2 games against the Seahawks, the Rams, and the 49ers, all tough defenses. The Rams are going to chuck the ball something like 50 times a game, McVay's already said. He loves Stafford. It's like a toy. He said, we are going to air this ball out left and right. That's going to keep all those defenses running. Seahawks are going to be quietly good, and their defense is good. They were 12-4 last year, and nobody is saying a word about the Seahawks, except for Stocking, and he's crazy.
They act like they just don't exist anymore.
Wait, Stocking's for the Seahawks?
Seahawks and Bills in the Super Bowl.
Seahawks don't have a chance.
Okay, good call. 49ers?
Sorry, but
49ers. 1-7 last year at home, but they were all injuries.
A lot of injuries, but are we going to lose the locker room with the quarterback situation? Is it going to be something that happens, something like last year in Chicago where, half the locker room wants Trey Lance, half the locker room wants Jimmy Garoppolo? Who does he stick with?
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, the quarterback is the question right there. Kittle back, that's going to be a huge benefit for them, but yeah.
And is that Rams offense going to click all together on that first year? Yeah, he says it's a toy. Yeah, he says it's fun, but is that going to click 100% all the way through? They just traded for Sony Michel?
Yes.
That's how desperate you are at running back.
Mm-hmm. All right, now looking back, let's go to the favorites in the AFC East. Bills, Dolphins, or Patriots?
Bills. That's Buffalo's division.
Yeah, I can get down with that.
I think so. My only worry is that contract that Josh Allen signed. That's my only worry. But that defense is good. AJ Epinesa is coming through. I don't know what's going on with the Dolphins. They kind of have a new offensive coordinator down there. And it's kind of geared around Tua. And the Patriots, we'll see what they can do with Mac Jones and everything else. But they got a pretty good defense there in New England. I think it's the Bills as well. AFC North. Steelers, Ravens, Browns.
Ravens.
Really?
Browns.
You're the first person I've heard to be on the Ravens. That doesn't scare you at all. Lamar Jackson's not going to get vaccinated, and he might fall to COVID protocols.
Oh, God. Yeah, we have to talk COVID. All right.
We have to.
I know we do.
Yeah.
I know. And that's the same thing with the stupid Viking situation. Right? I mean, there was a story out today about a kid from Rutgers who says he's going to transfer because Rutgers is mandating that all their players get vaccinated.
And the NCAA is not going to stop that.
So he's going in the transfer portal. I'm like, oh, it's a shot. But then, whatever.
The Browns are the pick this year.
I like the Browns. I like the Browns a lot. I think Pittsburgh, we're going to see a huge fall off.
New offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh with Matt Canada. A lot of movement going on from what they're reporting.
I think that's just going to be a dumpster fire. We're just going to watch go up in flames all year long.
I think it's the Browns, too. And the thing about the Browns, Stefanski's got this whole, I'm not talking to national media, and everybody needs to knock it off, and Baker Mayfield stops starring in commercials, and how about you just get down to business? And I like that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. If they're not talking about you, maybe you're doing something right, And,
Odell's back from injury?
Yeah, did you hear this? That someone was telling me that they're trying to trade him to the Bears for Knicks?
No, I did not hear that.
I heard that yesterday. Okay, AFC South.
Because the Browns are so loaded at receiver.
I guess so. AFC South.
They got that, T. Higgins and Landry?
Mm-hmm.
Jarvis Landry? Yeah. Is it T. Higgins? There's a couple Higgins. There's one for the Bengals, one for the Browns.
T is on the Bengals. Yeah. Because Jamar Chase is not working out right now for the Bengals.
He's not. There's another Higgins, though, that Cleveland likes, and he had I'm pretty sure that's his last name.
Yeah, I'll look it up for you. But yeah,
he had a little bit of Baker love at the end of the season.
We got to throw it out there for fantasy sake, anyway. So let's see here. Give me my depth chart.
Cleveland's got to prove it on the field. I can't get down with Cleveland yet.
Oh, that's what it is. It's
Rashard Higgins.
Rashard Higgins. But then there's also they love that Peoples Jones, the former Michigan guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Rashard Higgins. Yeah. So, all right. And what were you saying? Sorry, Roland.
Yeah, I'm not down with Cleveland yet. I'm sorry. I'm not down with Baker. He's showing signs. I just got to prove it over 17, and they haven't.
To me, the guy looks like a winner, though. Just looks like he's going to winner. He's going to win things. Every week when he goes out.
Finally, the AFC South. This is the one.
Well, does Jacksonville win a game?
Yes.
Okay.
Against Houston twice.
Yes, I'm taking. I like their over under. I think it's 3.5.
Does Houston win a game?
Does Houston win a game?
That's my question.
No, they're terrible. This would look like Tennessee's thing, but the more and more I look at it, Tennessee's defense was terrible last year. I thought this was Tennessee's to
But who else is going to step up? What are we thinking that Carson Wentz is going to be healthy all year in order to lead this team? They're not going to do it with Ellinger and Eason. Is those the backups, right? Something like that. Yeah. It's if Carson Wentz goes down, it's over.
It's 2,000 yards in back-to-back years of Derrick Henry carrying that team.
Yeah, but it's Tennessee.
It's Tennessee's division, right?
Yeah,
but I think the
this is
Colts
one of
are
the easiest
The
calls.
Indy,
actually.
Okay, all right.
The Colts. I feel like the Colts are the only threat, but it's going to take a lot more. It's going to. I mean, if Carson Wentz stays healthy all the way through, I think they can win the division. Absolutely, right. I think they got a lot of talent. The wide receiver, great offensive line.
So are we saying
good defense?
You're all saying Packers are going to win the NFC North?
I am.
I won't say it on air.
There you go. But I will, and I don't think it's even close. I just don't.
It's going to be close.
Okay. I hate to cut this short, but we got to call Mike at the Hidden Hills because I got to get a DFS thing in for golf. Because they tee off tomorrow, that's why. You know, we're interrupted because of White Sox tomorrow. Oh, never mind. It was 9. Weird. All right. Maybe it'll work this time.
Hidden Hills Golf Course.
Hey, Mike, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Jay, how's it going over there?
It's going well. Sorry we got called a little late. We got into heated conversation about the NFL, who the contenders and the pretenders are this year. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
What'd you come up with?
Well, I said it's not the Bears. Adrian disagreed with me, so but that's one thing. But we'll get to that later. And we don't have too much time. I apologize there. But how are things going out there? How are things going out there? Hey, you picked the winner last week in Tony Finau, and all our guys made the cut. We made some money.
Yeah. No, we've been I've been picking the winner almost every week now.
Yeah.
So, right along.
Right along is right. All right. So we're talking to Mike out at Hidden Hills Golf Course. That's at 4335 Indiana Avenue in Bettendorf, Iowa, just north of the TBK complex. You guys have a Labor Day golf outing coming up in a couple weeks, right, Mike?
Yep. We've got 18 teams signed up right now, so we've probably got 6 to 8 more spots.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're interested, we play that Monday at 8 o'clock shotgun. So give us a call. We'll put your name in.
Right on. Call them at 563-332-5616 or go to hiddenhills-golf.com and talk to Mike, and they'll get you in there about that. Weather's been fine today. I haven't been outside, obviously, in about close to 3 hours, so everything's been...
we got some nice rain last night kind of came in, so, it softened everything up. We were on the verge of turning into an airport out here for a little bit, but I think we're back.
Good.
So we'll keep it coming. Weather's nice. We got a little 90s this week. It's kind of the last couple weeks of summer here.
Sure. The dog days of summer, I think they call them.
You got it.
All right. What are we looking at this week for our DFS golf?
Okay, this week we're going, I'm going to go the two guys, first and second. I'm going Finau and Smith right away.
Okay. You said
Good.
Smith.
He's on both of them.
Is that C. Smith or whatever? What's this guy's
Cameron
name?
Smith.
Cameron Smith, he made 18 out of 21 cuts. He's got 8 top 10s. All right, we're going with Cameron Smith, and then we're gonna ride with Finau.
Yep.
Okay.
Great pick is Paul Casey.
Okay.
Get him for cheap.
That's right. Who else you got for me?
Fourth pick is Corey Connors. He's been playing great. I feel like he's starting to come around here.
Heck yeah, 23 out of 28 cuts, 8 top 10s, and he's only going to cost us $8,600.
Yep. We've got who played really well last night. Somebody I always wanted to play well, who has never played well, is Eric Van Ruin.
Okay. I see that. Yep, 7.5. He's made 12 of 23, 3 top 10s. All right, and he played really well last week. All right, let's keep this train rolling then, Eric.
Then our last guy who we got to kind of cheer for is Max Homa.
I love him. He's great on Twitter.
Great guy.
Yep.
We'll see what he can.
Yeah, that's a great pick. I love that.
A low cost, and hopefully he can give us a little bonus points here.
That's great. And they're going to be they're all going to be teeing off tomorrow at 8:40 our time. So we'll be keeping track of that and keep making some money here, Mike. I like this.
Yeah, BM Championship. I think this is the second leg of
the FedEx PGA Championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So I can't remember. I don't know if they cut. I don't know if they ever cut.
Oh, okay. Because They don't have to because what? It's only 125 golfers left.
Yeah, so then maybe they cut in this one. I'll have to look at it. I haven't.
Well, either way, every single one of our golfers hit below par, so it's usually the catch is like at a +1 anyway. They would have made it anywhere else. So, no, we did great last week. So hopefully we make some more money now.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, I hate to cut you short, but I don't want to run out of time because at the end we got to run commercials here.
That's no problem. We'll keep in touch and appreciate having you on.
Appreciate you, Mike. Take care, man.
Yep. See you guys.
Bye. All right, guys, we got about 4 more minutes. So where are we at? Who do we like to win it? Do you like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to repeat in the South? Obviously, we're going straight from golf in the NFL for those of you who are following along my ADD.
I do. Can't count Tom Brady out. Another year with that offense, I think it's going to click.
Yeah, they win this out.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just try to go through the no-brainers. We believe the Bills no matter what, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We're all on Tennessee.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City in the West.
Yes.
No-brainers. So it really comes down to AFC North. We're on Browns. I'm on Browns. You?
I got to go with the Ravens.
Oh, you're sticking with the Ravens.
Yeah.
Okay. 11-5 last year. So were the Browns. That was a tight division. 12-4. Steelers won the division by just a game. Yep. Okay. The East. You think Riverboat Ron's going to come back through it?
I do.
I think the Giants, and you think the Cowboys.
I got Cowboys. Pains me to say.
7-9 last year. The Washington football team 6-10. The Giants 6-10. The Cowboys. I think at 9-8, the Giants win this game. The thing is, we really have to look at their schedule. What is it with the Packers that you think the North is going to be as close? Do you think the Vikings steal this?
No. I kind of like the Bears.
Yeah, bear down, baby.
Well, then that's the thing is this is more regional than the other ones we talked about. Sell me on the Bears.
It's more
their schedule is hard.
Their schedule's hard. I think they're doing the right things there. I just don't believe in the Packers more than anything, and I got to find someone else who's going to step in there. It's going to be close, but I just see chaos in Green Bay this year.
They're starting 1-2 on the season before they play the Lions.
The Bears?
Yes, they're losing at the Rams. They're losing at Cleveland. They'll win at home against Cincinnati.
They might beat Cleveland.
2-1.
They're starting the season at 1-2.
We're not going to agree on this. We've got 2 of us on the Bears and you on the Packers. It sounds like the Bears win this division right here in our poll.
I agree with that, but I'm telling you, I'm looking at their schedule right now.
The defense is there. The running game is taking a step in the right direction. Cohen's back. We have a top 15 wide receiver in the NFL, I feel like, with Allen Robinson.
And you have Andy Dalton as your quarterback.
And after week 1, that will be the end of that.
Week 4 is going to be a lot of fun. Week 4 is where I start.
They won't make it out of Chicago. They won't make it back into Chicago if he doesn't announce on the bus after the Rams game that Justin Fields will start week 2.
You might be onto something there. After he just completely just melts down in L.A., you might be onto something there. That's the one we need to work at.
He won't be able to get back in Chicago.
I might be with you on that. That'll turn me a lot after. It's going to be roughly about.
You gotta remember this. Justin Fields they were talking about him as number 2 overall, possibly at one point going over Trevor Lawrence at number 1. Nobody really believed it, but it was being said out loud.
I know.
Things changed a little bit, but this guy, he's no joke. He's a stud. 16-1.
10:15 our time. I'm going to start paying attention for the next 12 hours of what they say. That'll be on that.
I can't wait till that
September
Monday.
12th. That's September 12th. So that's going to be interesting. I still think it's week 4, but I could maybe co-sign that now. I could beef that up to play against the Bengals and do that. It'll be a battle against 2 former Ohio State Buckeyes.
Yeah.
No, it will be, won't it?
Yeah. he spent some time in Columbus. Joe Burrow did.
He unpacked his bags.
Yeah. So you do, but that's. You think Justin Fields is going to lead them, and is that where you're leaning, Roland?
I think he'll get in there, and I think the kid's got a lot of energy, and he's got some leadership skills, and he's
a winner. He's been winning his entire life.
It's going to be changing of the guard in the division for sure.
Real quick, do you have any Super Bowl predictions?
I like the repeat. Bucks, Chiefs. Okay. Chiefs get it this time.
I do like the Chiefs. I'll put money on Mahomes any day.
I like Bills and Tampa Bay. I like the Bills this year. All right. We got to run some promos at the end of the game. Roland, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you so much.
Yep.
QCSportsnet.com.
QCSportsnet.com. I got North at North Scott. Shitty Chiropractic got on board today, so good things are happening for us.
Awesome. Adrian, tomorrow we're off. I'll see you on Friday.
Yep.
All right. Well, take care, Quad City. Stay safe and sanitized. We'll see you soon.
Hi, this is Derek.
And this is Skip. We are the twins from Our Bar Davenport.
And you are listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
on ESPN 1170 AM.
This is Len Casper, the voice of the Chicago White Sox. You're listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local on ESPN 1170.
Which stage of life are you in?
I'm shopping for a new house and can't believe I'm a grown-up stage.
How on earth do people afford college stage?
Or
I never have to think about work again stage.
No matter which stage of life you're in, First Midwest Bank has the knowledge and experience to help you. Visit firstmidwest.com/every stage. You have plans, we have ideas. First Midwest Bank, momentum for life. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Benito's line.